um, issue. Now, filmmaking in the post-COVID era. When is the post-COVID era? What is a post-COVID-19 era? And what is it going to look like? Even the experts, the medical scientists, have not been able to tell us with any degree of certainty when we shall begin to experience a post-COVID era. Could be 2, 5, 10 years or more. Could be the defining factor for the ever slow but constantly changing way of life until we forget that there was something like it. That's the way some people argue. So learning to live and make films in COVID-19 era might well be worth considering. Therefore, I suggest we get a picture of the COVID-19 era first. Now, it is the era we are in right now. Yes, all of us know that we're in the COVID-19 era. All right? It imposed national and international lockdowns for weeks, even months for some. They enforced the wearing of face masks. Yes, some of us are wearing them, even in the auditorium now. Social distancing, we are observing it. Constant washing of hands, we do that. My elder brother's house in Jos, whenever I visit, he has a small girl in the house. She always meet you at the door. Uncle, all right, you must wash your hand before you go in. And for many of us in our houses, in our offices, it's like that. Yeah, that's the era. That's the COVID-19 era and the rules and regulations that go with it, because we do not want to be infected by the virus. It enforced the wearing of face masks, social distancing, constant washing of hands, banned the shaking of hands and hugging. Oh boy. The hallmark of a Nigerian greeting anywhere in the world, isn't it? And stop people from congregating in public places for weddings and parties. But the most irksome was the stoppage of worship in churches and mosques. That quintessential Nigerian trademark. We're extremely religious in this country. You know, Christians and Muslims, and you can understand the outcry against congregating. But then it's something that we needed to do in order to observe social distancing. COVID-19 did not just take away our freedom by locking us. Thank you very much. You recall that this lecture is both physical and virtual. And right now, we have Steve Ebo is presently online. And we're still expecting Alex Yego. Is he here, please? All right, we're still expecting him as one of the discussants, and also Dr. Ahmad Sarari. Is Dr. Ahmad Sarari here? I think that's Alex coming in. You're welcome, sir. Can we give him a round of applause, please? You're welcome, sir. Thank you. We're still expecting Dr. Ahmad Sarari. And okay, so like I was saying, remember, I am reading the paper by Dr. Dole Johnson on the title, Filmmaking in the Post-COVID-19 Era. Learning to live in and with an era like that cannot be a welcome option. And so we may wish to wish it away and romanticize over a post-COVID-19 option. Yet, doing so will be foolhardy, isn't it? Wishes have never been horses, no matter how hard the beggars try. So we may as well accept the fact that there are abnormal changes facing us, which are beyond our control. When you look at a bad situation with a positive mind, you would find something good in it. Now, what is a post-COVID-19 era? We have discussed that is COVID-19. What is a post-COVID-19? And this is what Dr. Johnson is saying. What is our picture of it? Is it a beautiful, ugly, dreadful, or peaceful future? Or is it something we cannot imagine and therefore hope for the best but prepare for the worst? There is no one size fits all answer to these questions. Fortunately, filmmakers are thinkers and imaginers. From our experiences so far, filmmaking is going to be affected in very dramatic ways and from different angles. There will be or could be benefits or dangers to the profession. And the time to think through this is now. My job, Dr. Johnson says, at this point is to ginger you to begin the thinking and imagining process so that you will not be taken away by surprise when the situation overtakes you. To use an overused cliche, my job is to play the devil's advocate to jumpstart the process. Now, the point to start really is to ask ourselves where and how the COVID-19 situation has affected us as individuals. Let me share my experience. I'm a writer with books that are studied in several tertiary institutions in the country and abroad. From the time the schools closed, about a year now, I haven't sold more than 10 books to individuals within the country and just 50 ordered abroad as schools are beginning to reopen. I have cartons piled up, gathering dust and attracting cockroaches while I remain perpetually broke. That's a lot of the lecturer. All right? I have a film made from one of my short stories, Why Women Won't Make It to Heaven. I wish you would read this story. I've read it. Very interesting story. All right? But we've been waiting for COVID-19 to go away and allow mass gatherings. I believe there are many of you filmmakers in similar difficulties. Mr. Alex, I'm sure, is going to address this deeper. Haven't I just stumbled upon a definition for a post-COVID-19 era? It is when COVID-19 goes away and allows people to gather in crowds, wear no masks, socialize, and do things in the way they did before COVID-19. Never mind whether that's going to be possible or not. It's only a working definition. Doing things the way you did before COVID-19 does not mean that there will be no changes in the ways you do them. Nor does it suggest that there must be changes. Changes which bring improvement are always a welcome thing. Now, the world, as we said, is constantly changing, and so it is with our dynamic film making profession. We certainly expect there are going to be, and indeed, there are changes presently, even on the way films are produced in view of the new normal, the present circumstances we have found ourselves. COVID-19 has brought about many changes, some of them earth-shaking. There have been economic upheavals, realignments, and policy changes with dire consequences for many countries, including Nigeria. Probably the most memorable change in the Sino-American political friction over the origin of COVID-19 and its implications for the recently concluded American elections, as well as Sino-American trade relations. There have been changes and realignments in international relations. Technology, ever dynamic without any triggers, has surely been jolted beyond its rhythm of change, especially in the area of medical advances. Apart from the economic changes in Nigeria that affect us directly and immediately, changes in international relations and economy are bound to affect us in the long run, if they have not already done so. There are direct effects on film, while some are yet to hit us. Who would imagine that the film festival could be held virtually? Isn't it? A script conference online, Zoom or any other could be real fun. But a festival, the whole idea is frightening. Yet, all right. Thank you. Dr. Ahmed Sarari, please, can you come to the front here, sir? You're welcome, sir. Please, can we give him a round of applause? You're welcome, sir. Yet, if it came to it, do we have any option? As thinkers and imaginers, we will have to find a way to exhibit the films. I can hear in my mind your shreks and squirms about smart pirates of the Niger. And this is where changes in technology will help. We just concluded the Kano International Languages of Africa Film Festival, KILAF, online. What this meant was that we could only do the conference bit. But imagine that NAFEST, which recently held in Jos, was done online. These are heavy, earth-shaking changes indeed. Okay. Even as COVID-19 raged, there were calls for creative works that reflected the era. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Ebo has joined us online. Steve Ebo, you are welcome. And presently, we're discussing a paper by Dr. Dole Johnson, which is the keynote. After this, we will be able to take discussion from the distinguished gentlemen here. Now, even as COVID-19 raged, there were calls for creative works that reflected the era. Most of these were in fiction and in true life experiences. I have not seen a film or film story on COVID-19 yet, according to Dr. Johnson. But I believe there may have been. If there are none yet, there will surely be. It is expected that we will have stories based on peculiar Nigerian experiences, African experiences, and world experiences. We will even have futuristic stories and historical stories inspired by COVID-19. This will introduce variety in our story contents. Indeed, it will increase variety in film stories all over the world. Now, what about content delivery? All right? Before COVID-19, there were phenomenal changes in modes of content delivery. YouTube and Netflix have been in the lead, but I understand that another contender called TikTok, though in a rudimentary stage and with a different focus for now, is likely to be a threat to the giants. Nigerian filmmakers have patronized these channels, but have we thought about launching something indigenous? Something on which we will not only stream our films, but also compel others reaching our audiences to patronize. I know nothing about technology other than use it, but I know that Nigeria has the brains to challenge those that develop such technologies. TikTok, as I understand, is a very innovative video technology and very popular with the youth. It must be something to look up to, but important is the need for a homemade technology in this direction. Or is there one already? He's asking a question. With or without COVID-19, we have been slaves to the owners of Amazon, Google, Facebook, Netflix, DSTV, 5G, and 6G. All these are COVID-19 friendly technologies to which we have made no contribution other than consume. What are we going to be talking about in the next 5 or 10 years? A post-COVID-19 era is likely to instruct that we gather less and keep more distances between one another, to travel less but keep in touch more. All of this will require that we be more in control of the means of communication and doing things. If nothing else, this can be a subject for film stories. but we can challenge our engineers to action. There are more benefits and challenges that we will face in the post-COVID-19 era. I have talked about the enrichment of story content, which is a benefit. We will also have a variety of content arising from the variety of experiences. I recall that when we had Ebola, there were tragic stories, stories of bravery and triumph, and comic angles such as the confusions caused by the social media. This will come back in the post-COVID-19 era. We will be expected to treat these stories with the knowledge and experience of COVID-19, as well as whatever protocols that will be in place to guide our actions and activities. Perhaps, as a result, costs of production will be less or more. Who knows? Bearing this in mind will help us plan better, but it should also consequently result in better production. There is another angle to this challenge for the filmmaker. In the history of film production, stars or key actors have died in the course of shooting, either through accidents or illness. With the proper insurance policy, the producer's challenge is limited to finding a replacement, reshooting, or continuing where they stopped. The sudden onset of COVID-19 and sometimes the death of the victim will halt work, the progress of work. But there are other such ailments that may equally confront us. COVID-19 has or would have sharpened that awareness in us. Ladies and gentlemen, let us use a real example that many of us can relate to. The drama series Halita that ran on DSTV. There was a case of sudden death of an actor. It was not COVID-related, which disrupted the shooting for a while. But there was the more serious halt to the production owing to COVID-19 lockdown. This meant the repetition of several episodes. What will be the implications of such a development? My house had a team of fans who got frustrated and moved on to other shows. Multiply this by 10,000 other homes and imagine what would have happened to the rating of the show. What about the producer or executive producer and the sponsors? The serial no longer runs. Could COVID-19 be responsible? Assuming there were no lockdowns even as COVID-19 raged like wildfire, would actors and crew have moved and mingled freely on set? There will be palpable fear. What if someone has it on the set? How safe are the rest of the team? There will be many other questions, and the fear will be genuine. Ordinarily, post-COVID-19 era would mean a return to life as we lived it before the pandemic, a normal life. But that is not what is in the minds of our leaders and the scientists that advise them. Else, we would not be talking about a new normal. That is a euphemism for the abnormal. Normal is simply normal. It cannot be new or old. What they are asking us to brace up for, therefore, is a life unlike we knew it and lived it. It is not their making, but a necessity, and therefore dressing it in euphemism is unnecessary. We just have to brace up for the changes and the attendant difficulties. Now, whatever benefits this restrained flow of life may bring to film and other professions, there will be more to suffer than to benefit. I can, for example, see talents wearing face masks on a film set. It may be possible with the audience in the theater and probably the crew on the set, but not the actors, as it will affect the artistic quality of the film. But it will also challenge the creativity of some directors and end up giving us works of genius. Whatever the case, we can take solace in the saying that to be forewarned is to be forearmed. Good luck with your future work in post-COVID era. Now, Dole Johnson is concluding that I have not been a hardcore industry person and do not know many things about Nollywood. All right? I'm not sure that we do have insurance for cast and crew on our sets. What happens if there is an accident on location and someone gets injured or killed or incapacitated? It is not my portion in Jesus' name. I can smell that up front. Okay, that may not be COVID 19 related, but what about a sudden illness or death, such as have happened in many COVID 19 cases? Is there any insurance to take care of such cases? There are some of these challenges we are likely to face. Sorry, these are some of the challenges we are likely to face in the post COVID 19 era. The earlier we learn to handle them, the better. Our post COVID 19 production plans, therefore, must take these and many other challenges into consideration if we want to remain in the business of filmmaking. Thank you all for listening. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. So that's the paper by Dole Johnson. I will crave your indulgence to, if you have any question or
the fourth leg, which is P&A, publicity and advertising, definitely going to affect it at least for the next 1, 2 years. Perhaps by the time the vaccine, that has been discovered gets to Africa and to Nigeria, maybe we'll begin to relax and go back to the old normal, since we are now in new normal, and we prefer to do our film in the old normal way. I know the vaccine will come. Of course, we are all following what is happening globally, but I know it will take some time before it will get to Africa. Uh-huh. So I will make my input following the various stages of production. For instance, pre-production. I think pre-production will be affected the least in the stages of filmmaking, because it can be done virtually. Whether it's the scripting level, the script writer does not really need, when it's done, he or she is done with the script. Yes, we know the norm is to call a script conference. That can be done virtually. You don't need to, but the old normal is that we meet physically for the purpose of script conference, so that it's normally supposed to be interactive, but it can be interactive virtually since we're in the new normal. So script writers and those going for script conference, the new normal may dictate that you will do it virtually. Maybe through Zoom, WhatsApp, whatever social media platform that you think is best for. So that's a reality. That's a reality in terms of pre-production. As it concerns scripting, the same thing. Auditions, auditions for instance. Audition. Hello. Issues of, please, maybe you need to check some of these batteries, please, so that hear ourselves. Hello. Are we okay from there? Yeah. Auditions, for instance, used to be very a physical activity, where you invite both the cast and crew, potential crew, uh, to select the final cast and crew. Again, that can be done very successfully virtually. Take, for instance, the artist, instead of calling everybody to one place, at times can be up to 1,000 people, 500 people, 200 people. Of course, the reality of the day will not permit that, except, and that is if you want to conform with the protocols of, that's COVID-19 protocol, social distancing and all of that. And it's more cheaper for you as the producer. You can get all the artists, just send in a 1 minute a video recording of themselves and make your judgment from there. It's bringing everybody to one big hall as per the old normal. So the new normal now is that your auditions can be done 100% online, virtually. So you don't have any problem with that, and that's a reality we have to deal with. Even your casting, because it's not everybody you audition. You may want to do table casting for some of the stars, as it were. You already know them. You know why you want them. You reach out to them virtually. So that's a new normal. Okay. Okay, maybe I will pause here for Steve, since he's online, he's running data, so we have to give him preference. Yeah, so Steve, you are on.
Okay, thank you very much, Alex. I think you can hear me very well now. Hello.
Yeah, you're on. You're on, loud and clear.
Okay, okay. I think this is a very interesting one. As just as Alex have said, I'll talk more about the proper location.
Yeah, you're still on. I think it's network from his end, I suspect.
Hello.
Yeah, you're back now. You're back. So you can go on, please.
Back.
Yeah, go on, Steve.
Okay, I'm saying when possible, okay, we have to reduce unnecessary movements of unit location managers and staff between sets, location, and workplaces. A lot of things must go in place for us to be safe. I'm talking about the safety of the cast and crew. Sick cast, crew, showing symptoms of fever, breathing difficulties, shortness of whatever, any sign of COVID must not be allowed into workplace. Now our mid-time lunch breaks to be staggered to maintain real social distancing. We have to maintain every protocol about this COVID-19 so that we can be safe to shoot. As actors cannot be in front of the camera wearing protective equipment, below the line personnel coming in contact with the actors or directors must have to wear face masks and gloves at all times. Extra budgeting for the filmmaker. For international cast and crew, I believe NCDC guidelines shall be followed in terms. We have to be self-isolating. Sharing of props, makeups, should be very, very careful who you come in contact with, because when you make up, you come in contact with the makeup artist. You can never say what is wrong with the person. The powder the person is using, the equipment he's using on your face is very, very important. For hand washing and use of alcohol-based sanitizers must be stationed in every side. Another problem is that most owners of locations where films are made will not allow artists in their houses because of this COVID. So a lot have to be done. Government now have to look inward to help us get film villages or reduced areas where we can shoot our movies. We have to avoid crowd scenes where social distancing requirement cannot be observed with alternative technical solutions. Now, if you avoid crowd scenes, which means we are going to tamper with our storylines. These are part of the things that COVID-19 is going to bring into the industry if not properly looked into. For costuming, we have to avoid face-to-face positioning during fittings and ask cast to dress themselves when possible, either from home, bring their costumes, and bring all these things. Makeup and hair should equally use screen between station, and the head makeup artist shall never wear face mask. Makeup artists must be actor have their own set of makeup, have their own set of everything to avoid body contact. This post-COVID more of storytelling, so we have to be very, very careful on the kind of stories we tell now, because COVID-19 is going to affect the sets and rehearsals performance that could be achieved. Cast members be on set only when required for the movement within our working area. We have to read only key performers integral to the scene on set at it should be allowed into the arena of shooting. We also require to wear protective gloves at every point in time. That means the life of the actor on set that is at risk. And that is when the opening speech came up with the issue of insurance. Let us make sure that every production have a proper insurance scheme to protect the artist. If everything we have discussed today is more on the actor. When I say more on the actor is the only one without permission to wear a protective instrument while working. Otherwise, you cannot be able to tell your story properly. The other crew people can do that. But as actors, you cannot wear it unless you are telling the story of COVID-19. So a lot of measures should be assessed. And then, accessing work premises is only permitted in compliance with general COVID-19 measures. Use of face masks, maintain capacity limitation for each set done in line with minimal requirement to ensure physical distance rule is maintained. Maintaining minimum physical distance of 2 meters. This is just for the crew and not for the cast. Now, I said earlier that it's going to affect our story writing, because when you're writing your story, you have to take in consonance a lot of these COVID-19 precautions. Now again, I believe every production house or every production must have first aid box. There must be first aid box to text the artist, if not, or in case the artist is showing some signs, to be able to give him. There's going to be prolonged shooting now. Like the first speaker said, when an artist falls sick, you have to call off for a long time for him to get well. Otherwise, you miss the continuity, you miss the storyline. So there's going to be a lot of prolonged productions now. And there's going to be a lot of artists not coming up again to shoot, because you must have this planted or the other. In essence, we need extra money now to shoot. It's going to affect our pockets, we as producers. It's going to affect the actors health-wise, because every other person can be unprotected. I probably advise Test before going on set for all the cast and crew. Test before going on set so that you know your status. When you get to know these things, you will be able to contain a lot of things. The question, as you adopt the changes in order to make a living, has become imperative that adequate measures must be put in place by government, by producers, by industry makers to do what? To avoid the spread of this dreaded virus while we continue to practice our profession. Filmmaking, as we all know, is a combination of various units meant to and crew. For their more leisure to ensure a healthy post-COVID-19 filmmaking. Strict compliance to these post-COVID-19 rules and regulation will help us to protect life, sustain the film industry, and make money. I think the government should look into the creative industry properly, particularly the filmmaking department of it, so that we can be able to get most of the things we want. I think I have to.
Yeah, thank you.
That for now. Until
All right, thank you very much, Steve. I think he deserves a round of applause for that insight. As a matter of fact, he has helped this panel because most of the things I wanted to say, I wanted to take it stage by stage, like I said, but let me just add to what he has said. I started with the pre-production stage, which I said, and that's the reality, can almost be done 100% in compliance with COVID-19 protocol. Almost 100%, because all those things we do physically at the pre-production stage of filmmaking can be done virtually, all. And it will save, you can save costs there because that's the new normal. Even by the time we return to the old normal, I'm sure a whole lot of producers will prefer to stick to this new normal because we can save costs there. That's the truth of the matter. He also talked about, which has to do with the pre-production, the script, that our scripts now will be affected in terms of the story. I will say that is only to the extent that such story are set in, for Nigeria, for instance, 2020 upward. Because if you are shooting a film, because we didn't get into this COVID-19 thing until sometime January, February, March this year. So it will be preposterous for you to shoot a film that is supposed to be set in 2018, and you see everybody wearing face masks there. I mean, that would be laughable because COVID had not even with us as at 2018. So you have to be very careful, because I know a lot of producers now, and watch out, from next year, you'll be seeing a whole lot of COVID-19 related stories. It's just like when we had HIV. All story was all about HIV. So, but as a writer, you have to know that it must tally with the period your script is reflecting. For Nigeria, it just has to be from 2020. That's where you can tell a COVID-19 related story. That's very important. So I agree with Steve to that extent. So, like he said, where the producer will carry so much burden is the second stage in film production making. That is the production proper. That's where the producer will bear the brunt, because it will affect, because you need your cast and crew. Virtually all of them must be there physically. Filmmaking, that's film production, is a physical thing. Your director, the other members of the crew, they must be there. The cinematographer, everybody must be there. The actors, they must be there. They can't do that virtually. So it has to be physical. Starting from the logistics of the cast and crew, their hotel accommodations, for instance. In those days, a producer to cut costs can put 2, 3, 4 people in a room. You cannot do that again. I will not, as an actor, except it's my wife that I will share a room with. You can't lump 4 actors in one room again. So, the old normal allows that. But people will tell you that I cannot be in this, you know. And it may also be necessary to do a COVID test for all members of your cast and crew before they come on board. It's part of the protocol. Before you gather, you must do tests for them. And, it's part of it, you will bear the cost and all of that. So the production aspect really will cost the producer more. So what you save at the pre-production stage, you will pay for it during the production proper stage. And I think, again, going to the post-production stage, you also save money there. Most of the things, not all, and you have less crowd anyway during post-production other than your editor, you are the director, your sound man, so there are few people for the post-production as it concerns the studio. However, if, for instance, you have to do ADR as part of your post-production, maybe you don't want to use location sound, you still have to bring all the actors to the studio. It will cost you more money then, because you now have to space. You won't bring them together on the same day. You have to space. You have to accommodate them if they are coming from other parts of the country. So, by and large, this filmmaking in post-COVID era definitely will not be pocket-friendly for the producer. That's a reality. It's not going to be pocket-friendly. No matter, I've just told you the only part of the stages you can save money almost 100% is the pre-production stage. But the post-production proper, you are going to spend perhaps double or triple what you ordinarily would have spent. And that's a new normal. That's a reality. You understand? Then coming to your publicity and advertising, that one you don't have too much of problem, because most of those things are not too physical, But we now come to the content. By the time you finish your content again, it will affect you. We all see cinemas today. Yes, they have resumed business now, but maybe I think it's 50% resumption, because there must be social distancing in the cinemas. It will affect. That is if your film is going to the cinemas, which most people want their film to start from the cinemas. Then even the DVD, which live. But the way, marketers used to do Idumota, Pan Road, Onisha, Aba, Kano, Abuja, Kaduna, where retailers will swamp into the market on a particular day. I think that cannot happen again. So it's just for everybody within the chain to be very creative and have in mind that you must adhere very strictly to the protocol, to the COVID-19 protocol. One very important thing that the lead speaker said is the issue of insurance, which has always been there, which most producers ignore. Every production normally should have insurance. The production itself should be insured. Then the individual member of cast and crew should be insured. But this does not happen before. Perhaps actors will begin to insist on that now for them to come to your set. The burden is on the producer. So the producer will spend more there if he has to adhere strictly to that. So basically, everybody in the value chain must adhere to this new normal. But by and large, and that is my final take for now on this, the brunt of all of this will be borne by the producer, sadly so. Because the actor will come, do his or her thing, collects his money, pum, is gone. The other members of the crew, they take their money and they go. But the producer is the one, and sadly, I'm a producer. So please pity me. Yeah? Doctor, over to you.
Good evening, everybody. Though I came in late, I didn't watch the presentation, learned something. But before I begin to comment on the presentation, I would like to ask my guy here. Post-COVID filming, are we already in post-COVID, or are we still in COVID era? Or are we thinking when we are in post-COVID, this is what we are going to do? Because what I understand, most of the precautionary measures mentioned by other discussants, Steve and Alex here, are more related to precautions to be taken during COVID era. So are we in COVID era now? And the title of the paper is post-COVID. So it's both together, right? Anyway, so we take it from that perspective. I think we understand how filming, I first of all stand on all the precautionary measures stated by Steve and Alex down here. I would only like to add some few things that we are not mentioned. I would not like to repeat what they have already mentioned. One thing is, as Alex was talking, and Steve, locations. There are two things missing. There are two things missing in the presentation. That is, we need, as Alex was saying, we need to change our storylines. I don't think the impact of COVID is that big enough for us to change our creative mind to want to do. I think is to bring in scenes that have late impact of COVID in them. For instance, if we can have more external scenes. That's what I learned, one of the brought out by Hollywood last month. There is a need to be having more external scenes because COVID thrives in a closed environment like the one we have here. And like Alex was talking of tests, you make sure you test your cast, your crew before you begin. The positive test today, the negative test today will be positive tomorrow. So are you telling me you'll be testing every day? It's not possible. The resources are not going to be adequate. Otherwise, half of your budget will go for COVID tests. I think I'm more aligned with the fact that we go with taking the right health and safety measures. And based on the presentation I listened to, we are a bit selfish to ourselves. We think more of protecting the cast and the crew. We have forgotten the community where we do operate. So the precautionary and the health measures should involve both the community who are working, be it in the market, be it in the school. They have to be part of the precautionary measures we are going to take. And one thing for a better understanding of this post-COVID filming, we need to understand what are the impacts of the COVID on filming generally. How has COVID impacted the filming industry or the filming process in our industry? Most of these measures taken are just for international standards, but let's look at our own uniqueness. We know before COVID, that is the old normal, as mentioned by Alex. Everything was okay. We are going about doing our businesses. As COVID came in, all locations were halted, were suspended. All cinemas and viewing centers were closed. All event centers were closed. All production companies were shut down, right? All the DVD VCD outlet were closed. All the DVD vendors were out of streets. So, which means the value chain got disrupted. Before we think of post-COVID, we need to bring those things back to normal. On the process of the impact, that's as a result of the impact of COVID-19, there was series of bankruptcy. Many of the filmmakers went bankrupt. They lost their business forever. Government promised to give us palliative, but we are yet to see. So before we start thinking of post-COVID filming, those things that were disrupted, are they back, first of all? How do you bring them back? When we bring them back, then we think of starting from where we have stopped. That's when we continue with the normal filming. So continuous normal filming, yeah, as I stated earlier, we need to take precautionary measures. There was a baseline survey we conducted early this year in Kano during lockdown. The baseline survey was conducted in the 19th state of the northern Nigeria, including Abuja. That's about the impact of the COVID. I heard the team about the impact of COVID in the northern movie industry. You'll be shocked to hear the figures obtained from that survey. Over 300,000 people were affected by COVID. About over 23,000 businesses, over 40,000 businesses were shut down during COVID. Let me give you an example. In Kano State alone, we have 5,000 viewing centers registered with Kano State Census Board. All of them, they were shut down for 4 months, 120 days. A viewing center earns an average of 15,000 naira a night. Multiply that by 5,000, then by 120 days. Those of you who are good in mathematics, you will see the figures. Imagine the number of people who have lost their jobs. An average of 7 people work in a given viewing center. From operator, generator, doing that, 7 people. Imagine 7 people times 5,000. They have lost their job. That's just in the viewing center. About 29 cinemas were closed. That's the functioning cinemas we have in the entire northern Nigeria. About 29 of them closed, shut down, same scenario. During that time in Kano alone, there were 32 locations going on. All of them, they are halted. They are suspended. Could you imagine how much each producer of such location has lost? So the loss was enormous. The loss was very, very big. Up to now, not a single effort from either government or non-governmental organization to supplement the laws by the filmmakers in this country. So I believe we need to revise and look at the magnitude of the loss we had, the number of people who have lost their jobs, the number of, along the business chain, where we have disruption, we have to bring it back before we need to look at is precautionary and health measures need to be taken, and they need to be taken for the crew, for the cast, and for the community we are working in. They are not necessary, and the equipment we are using to work on also. Each and every, that's what was missing also in your process. Each and every equipment needs to be disinfected after use. And as Steve was saying, regular touch, regular contact with those equipment must be avoided during post-COVID filming. And as time goes, there are some other measures that need to be taken. But before I pass over the mic, I want to remind us the measures that need to be, they are not new measures. They are old measures we knew about COVID. Social hygiene is number one. Wherever you do, wherever you touch, wherever you go, wash your hand with running water and soap. If you don't have that, use sanitizer and cleansing your hand. The sanitizer must be at least 70% alcohol or above. That's one. Use your mask. Use your mask regularly. Observe social distances. These are the basic things that we need to keep in our mind while fighting COVID, while going on location during COVID. And we have to avoid crowded area. So for the producer, as you are saying, we need to be careful of the location, the place, the area, the rooms, everywhere. The location, it has to be spacious. What the only thing we cannot change here is acting. Because of COVID, you cannot see, you cannot kiss, we cannot hug, we cannot touch, we cannot sit close. Mother and son, or father and daughter, husband and wife cannot stay, is it 2 meters apart, right? They have to stay close. So we have to be very careful. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. My final take, I can not agree less with Dr. Sarari, in all the points, he raised, and trying to fill in the gap, from the lead paper to Steve and to myself, and I mean, he did a good job by filling in the gap. We cannot overemphasize it. This COVID-19, post-COVID-19, hit the producer real bad, hit us below the belt. For instance, apart from filmmaking, I'm a theater person. I stage at least two plays every year. One in Lagos, one in Warri, November and December. The last one I staged was before COVID, November last year and December last year. But I can't do it this year because they just told me in Lagos I use Muzon Center. Nothing is happening there. Nobody will come, even if they give me the up. Nobody will come. The one in December, I had to cancel it. Personally, I don't know. Dr. Sari have many revenue streams. Me, I've not made 1 naira this year as a producer. And that's the truth. I have not made money. I want to release. I can't release it. Everybody says, wait, leave it till like 1/4 of next year. And that's the reality. But I've paid all my member of cast and crew. I've paid all of them. They've gone their own. But I'm the producer now. And naira is depreciating. Went to about 500 naira to $1. So the producer is holding the shortest end of the stick. And like he said, the federal government is here to do anything. They promise us palliative, but that one is audio palliative. We're still waiting. So government at all levels must and should come to the aid of film producers, because while the actors are the face of Nollywood, the producers are the heartbeat of Nollywood. If we stop the heart, the face will shrinkle and die. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please can we give them a big round of applause. This time around, I'm not speaking as Dole Johnson, okay? I have had the opportunity and privilege of presenting his paper. I just want to take a minute to sort of distillate all that they've said. Very important issues. Dr. Johnson, gave us a wide coverage, of the field of film production, the argument is already there. I was actually having that. Is it in the COVID era or the post-COVID era? Maybe we'll call for another conference. All right, but, You can see that the discussants have done a very beautiful job in filling in some of the gaps that have been left in the main keynote discussion. Steve, talked about, the producer being very careful about unnecessary movement by cast and crew. Talked about the idea of being careful about any ailment that can arise, which should be, identified immediately. Just as Alex is saying too, he's talking about government trying to develop or should make a conscious, deliberate, intentional effort to develop film villages. I think that is an area that is seriously we are lacking in the country, and the COVID thing should actually push towards that. It's talking about no crowd scenes. I don't know how that is going to be possible. All right, I don't know, but like you said, my film lecturer at University of Jos, Professor Enahoro, will always tell us that there is nothing that is impossible in film. So probably the new films that we're going to have are such that you will, or maybe you will use technology to generate crowd scene. Actually, there is a technology for that. He talked about the issue of insurance. In fact, everybody here talked about insurance, from the keynote speaker himself. Alex has actually told us it has always been there, only that somehow producers have neglected it. I think it's incumbent on actors to to ask for it. In the civil service, they say, if you don't ask for your right, nobody will give it to you. But when you ask for it, you say, oh, okay, no, here it is. So actors need to ask for this, especially in view of COVID. Physical distancing, there should be a first aid. And of course, he ended up by saying that our productions are going to be, or rather shooting, is going to be longer in view of some of the new changes. Alex was a bit more methodological in view of taking it from each of the processes, from the pre to the post, from the pre to the post, and he gave us an insight on how each of these can be or will be impacted. Some of these things you can do them virtually, but the main issue, which is the production, is where the producer may end up putting in more money. So he ended up by saying that, and I quote him, film marketing is not going to be pocket friendly to the film producer, verbatim. And I think I agree with him. He also said that recouping monies will be affected, given that even the cinemas, all right, which are now functional, they are required to have only 50% of what? Of members in the, of audience in the hall. And Dr. Sarari there brought in some other issues, talking about having more EXT scenes than INT scenes, external scenes more than interior scenes, so as to guard against infections. Talked about precautionary measures to be taken in shooting by way of observing this protocol very well. Talked about disruptions to the value chain of film production, and he gave us some very serious and figures that are almost frightening indeed. And you can see that is just I heard about that research, sir, from my colleague, and it's really frightening. And that's just in the north. So you can imagine going down to the west, going down to the east, you can see how much has been lost as a result of COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, by and large, you will agree with me that COVID-19 has impacted, in film production the whole gamut of film production has been affected negatively. And it's a sorry state. He has not hidden it. They have not hidden it. And even as, we are getting back to some measure of normality, there are 3 vaccines that have been certified now by, I suppose, World Health Organization, or rather they are in the process of certifying them. But even then, everybody is agreeing that things are just what? Grinding, slowly, or kickstarting slowly. And even the film production process is no exception. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Dr. Sari? You're welcome. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There are 2 things I would like just to add. I'll not take much of your time. One is we look at the advantages and disadvantages brought about by COVID-19. We have been talking of the advantages, the losses, the problem, and so on and so forth. But we have not mentioned the benefit we have gained from COVID-19, which is very important. And it's very important, especially for you, the younger ones, the coming up student. COVID-19 has taught us that virtual life, virtual reality is true. It's a life to live on. This one. COVID-19 proves to us that online business is the only way out. COVID-19 teaches us that online distribution, that's connecting online, is the only way out. Before, some people were dodging, but we have learned this is the only thing. The only way to make money, the only way to enhance your creative mindset is through virtual reality, through online activities. Lastly, I would like to call on the organizers, that's the NFC, to please work hand in hand with the NCDC and come up with the guiding principles for shooting for the entire country. That will be important. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Even for us in academics, the online thing is what is going on now. In my school, where I come from, Kaduna State University, the Vice Chancellor directed, we must go online. So some of us who are not internet savvy, we were fiddling and flip-flopping. And we were trying to get out of it, saying, no, you must do it. I believe there is another workshop that is going to hold on digital marketing, and I think it's going to address that very well. Thank you very much once again. I think our colleague has gone offline, Steve. If you're hearing us, thank you very much. And once again, we thank the organizers. God bless. Thank you. I think we deserve a round of applause. Thank you. Sorry. I'm going to beg for 5 more minutes. Please, we're going to beg for 5 more minutes so that we'll take 2 questions, please. And I'm going to start with this. Can you help me, please? Give him. We are very sorry. We're very sorry. No, give him. Give.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name is Albert Egbe. Is this working? Okay. I'm a Nigerian, but I live in South Africa. I just came in last night for this very film festival. I've heard what the speakers have said, and excuse me. There are a few points I need to raise, and that is my surprise when I landed in Lagos from Johannesburg, and the taxi was taking me to my. I discovered that looking around from the window, there was hardly anybody wearing a face mask. And I said, oh, this is fine, because obviously COVID is not here. Because in South Africa, everybody wears a face mask. If you don't wear a face mask, you are the exception, not the rule. I was so ashamed of wearing my face mask when everybody else was not wearing a face mask that I had to remove it. In South Africa, you do not get a place like this without a sign that if you don't have a face mask, you're not getting in. And we're talking about post-COVID production. As we speak, we are not maintaining COVID protocols, because I look around me, we're saying we're social distancing, but hardly it's mask to be worn. If we go into production, we want to continue to do that. Actors will come in, they'll go home. They're not observing protocol at home. They catch the COVID and come back the next day. So what exactly are we trying to achieve if in the normal course of our daily lives we are not maintaining COVID protocols? Secondly, talking about post-COVID production. I mean, if it is post-COVID, then it means by that time there's no COVID. If there's no COVID, why do you want to do the protocols? These are my points. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The fact that I want to, we should look at the techno-aesthetic dimension in this, especially during the COVID, not post. We should look at if we want, with the really, because there are a lot of production you can still do without the actors coming together. You know, there's a lot of animation film now that is true to life. Have you, especially children program, a lot of animation programs that are true to life. The way the technology you discover that you may not even need to come together. All you need to do is to give the, are going to do the storyline. And when you give the storyline, then technology will do anything. We should look at the techno dimension to the problem that the COVID-19 has given to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the conversation can continue, isn't it? Even as we live here, but a challenge has been thrown to us. The good thing is that what we are conversing about here is not something we will necessarily finish here, but we can continue the conversation. But for now, thank you very much, and have a nice day. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you for your time. Please, we'll be having the next session. You will all agree with that in the morning we had technical hitches, which actually affected the commencement of our workshops, seminars this morning. So that's the reason why. So please have to bear with us because we couldn't run with the timing that is in the program because of the technical issues that we had in the morning. The person is Mr. Stephen Mobio.
Good evening, all. Good evening, all. Thank you. Sorry, the first slide, please. First slide. If you, I know we have some students among us. If you're a student, please, would you just please signify by raising up your hand? Oh, thank you. There, I saw Uncle Albert. Uncle, good evening, sir, and some others. This topic we are going to do is a very, very important one. You all agree with me. Breaking into digital and online space by maximizing audience engagement. I was thinking to myself that even if I'm not the one presenting this, for this alone, I will come, because this is the bane of Nollywood today. You shoot your films, you take it about, you don't know what to do with it, because those who are buying before now, they are not ready to buy. So let's start. Breaking into digital and online space, maximizing. Hello. Okay. Sorry about that. I think the first thing we need to do is to break this down. I need one hammer. Okay. Breaking the terms here, the keywords are digital space, online space, and audience engagement. I look up the first one, digital space, on Wikipedia, and it says the term digital space refers to what is displayed on the screen, like you're seeing now, through a digital device, your laptop, your tab, your phones, and even the big screen, like where we watch, for those who were around yesterday during the opening ceremony, the very big screen is also a digital device. Your smart TV at home is a digital device. Then, I went for the other one, say online space, or we call it cyberspace. And here also, the definition is as it said, it's a concept describing a widespread interconnected digital technology. The term cyberspace has become conventional in anything to describe internet. Internet, we call it that space, a cyberspace. This presentation might not be too academically inclined. I'm not a prof like the one who just left here. So, but I'm just going to talk based on experience over the years. I don't want to say how many years, because it makes me feel. So, like I said, I thought I'm singing, I sing. So when I sing, I bring it close to my mouth. So I spent a little bit above 3 decades in Nollywood. So if you're me, you'll be afraid to, because I still have daddy here and some of my seniors. So when I say 3 decades plus, it makes me feel old. Meanwhile, I'm just a small boy. Anyway, back to what we're saying. So we've defined the 2 key terms. The very third one, which is why we are here, is audience engagement. And I tell you, this is the problem we've been having. Engaging our audience, I would say we don't know how to now. In the past, we were doing it. A lot has changed. Unfortunately, I don't know if I will also say some of us are too old to go with the change. And if care is not taken, we'll be permanently left behind. That's why we need to pay attention to this. Audience engagement. Thank you. Audience engagement. Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of America, he said something. He said, tell me, and I forget. I realize that these days I also forget things. Teach me. I may just remember. That's a probability. But involve me and I'll learn. That's how you need to be involved here. I want us, when you go back to that, when I go back to this, the keynote, the theme, it said breaking into digital and online space by maximizing audience engagement. For me, I want us to swap that word, audience engagement, for audience involvement. It's just semantics. That audience engagement, to bring it home, let's keep it as to maximize for audience involvement. So that will bring it home better. So, I now try to come up with a definition for audience engagement, a layman's definition that will drive the points better home. And I said here that I'll simply define it as a deliberate, conscious, strategic process of involving the audience at every level of production, from script to screen. I underline some of those words. Deliberate, conscious, strategic process of involving the audience at every level of production, from script to screen. For the producers here, we know the various processes, from research, development, scripting, to the actual shoot, the post-production, the marketing and distribution, then to the end user, to the consumer. So it is a deliberate action when you are talking about audience engagement. There are processes for audience engagement. Please, can you give me the slide for the YouTube? Let's see. Okay, thank you. God bless you. Just take a look. And you need to involve your audience. We have about 1.3 billion people. As at the last time I checked, the world population is still less than 8 billion. You have 1.3 billion number of people they are only YouTube, who uses YouTube, 1.3 billion. About 5 billion amounts of videos are watched on YouTube every single day. 5 billion. Then this one will bring it down. You see, 300 to YouTube every minute. By implication, by the time, if I go with the time I'm given, almost 2 hours, by the time I finish this presentation, 16,000 videos will have been uploaded. So that space is a very noisy space. It's a very noisy, I don't know where you have crowds of people. Maybe at Jegunle. It's a very, very noisy. So if 16,000 will be uploaded within 2 hours, every minute 300 videos, then your own stuff that you put there, how are you going to be seen? And that's where the people are. Because when I say 5 billion videos are watched, that means people are not doing any other thing. Today, I've listened to news, I've checked some other things, and since I came, I've not turned on the TV in my room. I've not turned it on. But with my phone, because that's where we all live in a virtual space, as it were. I've spoken with my wife, both video and all that. That's where we live now. So why won't you be there if eyeballs matters? But then, like I said before, there should be a deliberate plan to involve the audience. I'm coming. Let's look at the conventional Nollywood model, the way we used to do it. Yes. You produce your content. Then they call them marketers. You have them in Alaba, in Idota, Pounds Road, in Kano. You pass it to them. They give you some money, or they'll be selling and be remitting some money to you. Through them, it gets to the end user. Some of us were not interested in that. I've been like a rebel in my own rights. So I will produce, you sell to cable TV, get the money, go back to location. They go to a stage, they were paying us in dollars. They said, no, we can no longer afford to pay you people in dollars, we'll pay you in naira. We said, no problem, just pay us well. Give us something that will be able to make some profit from and go back to location. At a time, they started reducing the money. I think that was when I stopped. In fact, it now got to a stage that they don't even buy anymore. They produce their own thing. Those who are the leading buyers, like DSTV, they produce their own thing. As I'm talking to you, I know one of their producers, Victor Sanchez Arawa, is in Benin, shooting 260 episodes of an hour program. I know there's this guy called Mike is in Ekwe, shooting another 260 episodes for their station. So where does that leave us as film students? I'm sure you are not discouraged. But you know the good news. The digital era has come with a lot of opportunities. All we need to do is what are we supposed to do and to do right? What's that thing we are supposed to do that we have not been doing? The market has changed. Give me the slide to see how empty the market is. The next slide, please. See the stores? The market has changed. What is that change? What is that change? This is the next slide. Long ago, over 10 years ago, we have moved from the analog system of shooting, the VHS, Super VHS, to the Betacam, and to all manners of analog shooting. We've stopped. We've embraced digitization long ago, more than 10 years. We digitized that pre to production. Now we have a shoot to do in Benin in 2 weeks. All the actors, they have their scripts now, yet we've not seen most of them. Through the digital means, you send the script to them. Then when we come to location, all the cameras, like what you are seeing here, they're all digital cameras. We're going to be shooting using digital cameras. We're going to be capturing our sound through digital means. Then from there, when we are done with the shoot, we go to the studio, the post-production. Now we're doing non-linear, fully digitized. The pre-production, digitized. Production, I'm telling you where the problem is, where the change has come. Then the moment you finish all that, and you get to marketing and distribution, you still see Pounds Road. You see Idumota. You see Alaba. You see Kano. That means the digital chain is broken there. The digital chain that was coming from the pre-production even to the post-pro, at that point, there's a lacuna. There's no crossing over. The market has changed. The orientation of the content consumers have changed. Before now, you sit in when it's, oh boy, you be right, come. Let me buy one bottle of beer, then I will give you the story. Then right there and then, oh boy, bring another one. It starts to write. I think most people, who are used to winning and all that, they know the way it happened. And the man will just sit down, and after some 24 hours, you tell you your script is ready. You pay him, and you're going on location. But what has that changed? You don't force anything down the consumer. They now tell you what they want to watch. They tell you how they want to consume that content. In fact, they also tell you where they want to consume the content. But you are still going back, you write a story. Because that story is okay with you, it flies with you. You think it's going to hit every other person? No. If we are not doing this, I'm sure most of us will be on our phones. I can assure you, as many as we are watching different things. The community has changed. Before, in fact, the definition change for community. Because you talk about a group of people in a particular locale, a particular geographical setting. But now, no. Of course, yesterday, I'm sure most of you saw me singing. I love high life. Uncle Albert, he lives in South Africa. He's on my platform. Some people are in the UK, they're on the platform. Some in North America, they're on the platform. In Ghana and everywhere is a community. But we are through the Telegram platform. We're on WhatsApp. But at the time, the WhatsApp could not contain us. It takes only 257 people. So we moved to Telegram that will take at least 200,000 people. So that is a community. That is a community. In this digital world, that's a community you need to look for. Who are your publics? Who are you writing that script for? It's not a situation where you just write and say, okay, you push it, they are not buying, you put it on YouTube. In fact, that's another thing we should talk about. When you spend, either you borrow money, you loan money, or you get your money through whatever means, and you shoot a movie, and you go and dump it on YouTube. And what have we said? Over 300 every minute. Your own will now be among those ones. And those ones will tell you, until you get 100,000 viewers, then they will pay you one peanut that cannot even rent a camera per day. And they will now tell you, oh, the industry is dying. Of course, you're also contributing to it. So in that case, how do we now monetize this? And meanwhile, people are making the kill from the same content on the internet. Maybe not necessarily YouTube, but some are making on YouTube too. What do we do? On the cyberspace, the more engaged, the more involved your audience, the more likely they are to eventually give you money. The more involved, the more engaged. Because what brings money on this digital platform? Eyeballs. Is the eyeballs. When you go to agent, they want to see the back end, how many viewers you have, how many followers you have. So you have to think. In such a noisy environment, the young man is asking, how do I get her engaged in this kind of environment? How do you get her engaged? You need to know her first. You must know who you want to engage. You need to know the person you're engaging. Then you propose to her. If you're a lady here, let me see your hand up if you have been proposed to before. Where is the hand? Who is talking? Okay, thank God. And if you're a man here, let me see your hand. If you have proposed to any lady, at least I know some of us, some of you have made proposals over 3-4 ladies. But just raise your hand if you have done that, if you have ever done that. Okay, someone is standing up. God bless you. Just be careful. So yes, you have to know the person. It's the same thing on the digital platform. You're looking, you say, who are my audience? For you to engage your audience, for you to propose to your audience, you need to know who your audience is, not are. Because we're talking about community. For the essence of this, your audience is one person that represents millions around the world. That represents communities, millions of his like. If you can reach him, you reach millions. That's the truth. If I'm targeting, I'm doing something. I'm doing a documentary on Cardinal Jim Lawson. Some of the young ones might not know him. By 16th of January, it will be 50 years when he passed on. If I finish that and I want to expose it, I will expose it to the community. They are high life lovers. Uncle is in South Africa, I will see it. You are living next to me, you may not see it because we have a community we represent. I was doing something also on single mothers. And when you talk about single mothers, they are everywhere in the world. I made a presentation sometime, a pitch in in Kenya. It's on single mothers. I won the pitch because I never knew, even before traveling there, that over 50% of the working class lady in that country were single mothers. So the thing resonated with them. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not about the community has changed in definition. It has nothing to do with geography now. It has a lot to do with interest. We'll get to that. It has a lot to do with the demography is different. The psychography is there in defining or looking for who our audience is. Talking about that, we now talk about audience segmentation, which is defined here as a process of dividing people in homogeneous subgroup based upon defined criteria, such as product usage. That might be what brings people together from around the world. Demography, it talks about gender, talks about everything about you, and we all know, I think most of us know what demography is. The psychography also talks about your value, your religion. That's what brings you people together, and so many others. Communication behavior. I just give an instance with even with my high life group, then the media use. These are somehow things you can use in segmenting or while you are looking for who your audience is. Before, the common thing is that you just use the demography. Okay, your audience is between 18 to 34. No, now they need something deeper than that. You must explain the person's behavior, where he lives, how his work, his interest, what he eats. By the time you bring it down, it's a bull's target. By the time you are able to explain in details, you find out that once you get your audience, they will follow you. They will follow you. Once you are able to define that audience, then you know who you are writing for. You know his habits. You know his interest. Once you know, and another, in spite of these 300 videos posted every minute on YouTube, for instance, the producers don't do anything by looking for anybody. Those people follow their interest. They go and surf the line for something of interest. I can't imagine how many times I've gone online. Go to Ghana, I want Titi Mensa, I want broadband, you are the one searching for it. Those who are hungry for it, once you're able to define them, you put it there, they will search you out. They will look for you in their millions. So you need to get that right. In writing your script, you need to know who you are writing for. You don't just generalize. I put on the footnote here that because you cannot successfully target everyone within a broad demographic. They have different interests. They are different people. They may fall under the same demography age-wise, but they are not the same. You must define them further. You must define them in details so that it will be easier for you. The more details you add, the easier it is for you to discover who your audience is. Now, in your script, you are looking for a potential specific audience around your story. I jot down some things here. The thing is, who are your characters? Or what's the subject you are writing on? Do they have jobs or interests that defines them? You must know what you are writing. 3, do they identify with specific cultural or underrepresented groups? Maybe like the blacks in America. Recently you have this wave of Black Lives Matters. Are you writing for blacks that are suppressed by the police, and is the story you are doing around that thing? You have to be clear on that. Does your story fall into a specific genre or subgenre? These are some of the things you need to think about. Do members of your cast attract certain fan base? In fact, that's one very good trick I think producers here should use, you should take out. On Twitter, who knows what the fan base of someone like Davido? Anyone here? You have an idea? The followers? It runs into millions. It runs into millions. So imagine you are doing a movie and you call Davido to come and play a particular role there. Even if now Waka pass and he tweets that film to his fan that I'm on set of so and so thing, you are made. Because at the cinemas, you in fact, you are made. There's a particular group that follows such. So the fan base, take advantage of that. That's what producers are doing around, especially in Lagos. They may get some people because look at AY too. Most of his stuff, he makes a lot of money because he has a community. Those who follow comedy, they are in their millions. So when he's doing anything, he's bound to sell. Look for that community you are right and write for them. Look for a community and write for. Also, like I said, okay, do members of your cast attract certain fan base around certain issues, interests, or demographics? You must define that. Are there any similar kind of stories that already exist and have a strong online following? I realized that there was a time it was anything about marriage. And once they do it, after the very first one, what's the title now? One by Mo, wedding party. In fact, because the kind of money they made, they did part 2. Then other people doing something that relates to wedding. Sometimes you can also copy a successful genre and just follow that line. And I tell you, you are going to hit. You can just latch on it and you make it there. Just write because you like that thing. It's not about you. You are not the one that is going to watch your movie now, either online, either in the cinemas. You are not the one, but you motorize based on a particular community or interest. You look for them, and by the time you start promoting it, the various community of that thing represent, you keep posting. You can use YouTube. It's a very good place to post, but don't go and put your films there. I want to advise because I won't do that. Okay? Now, the goal of audience engagement that we are talking about is to grab attention. Not just to grab it, you will keep it and finally convert it. You must grab the attention. You must keep that attention and you must convert it. If Ayomakun, the one called AY, is coming up with a new stuff today, the community, the fan base, they are still there. They are going to come because it's giving them what they want. Keep your community. Like this man is pinning this one down. Audience engagement. You know the single most important asset is attention. Get their attention. The attention you can get based on their interest. Anything I'm not interested in, if you are doing it, I won't even hear it. It will become noise. But let me be driving past or be walking by and I hear somebody playing high life. That's when I will slow down and even pretend as if I'm waiting for somebody because I'm listening to that music. Attention. When you write copies, if you're a copywriter, they also use it. The first thing you do under using that AIDA model, attention, interest, desire, and action, the first thing there is attention. You must grab the attention. Your audience, where are they? Your audience is already on the line. You just have to find them. They are there on the line. Everybody lives virtual life now. They are there. Find them. Use your bits. Use their interest. Use the demography. Use the psychography to get to them. You won't cry that nobody is buying this thing. You won't shoot and go and put in YouTube when you know you can never make any recovery from. You are not doing Mark Angel. When she started, they used phone, so it cost them nothing. And today, she makes a lot of money using that same medium. Another thing, because I don't know if I'll capture it here, is the attention span for one particular thing online is very short. I think it was Bella I was discussing with about a project that once they give me the go ahead to shoot, it's a series. I'm doing 25 minutes. But I know I have to put a clip every 5 minutes because at the back of my mind, I have the web series there. When it gets to TV or cable TV, it will become a 25 minutes. But when it gets to the web, they'll be doing it where episode 1, 2, 3. That one episode on TV is 5 episodes on the web. It's easier for them to do, just watch, okay. And they will follow it up. When you break it down like that, they will follow it. Every time, let me take a quick 5 minutes. While you go to office and you are waiting for someone, you quickly watch another one. In fact, during the lockdown, on Netflix, we were watching some series because we were home. Sometimes when you find out that the thing is almost finishing, you want to slow it down. But sometimes, because it's compelling, you can't help but to finish it. So your production, whatever genre you are producing, it has to be compelling. Put the interests of your audience at the back of your mind. So your audience are there. They exist. How do you find them out? They're on the line. Please, let me see that lady on the line. So they are on the line. How do we get them out? Where do users watch online video? What's happening? I have some very interesting stuff here. Okay. You see, but I don't mean this kind of line on the cyberspace. I just use this to represent. Please, let's see the next slide. It's very important. We are looking for our users. Yes. Okay. You see this. You see about, I think 62% are using mobile phones. 62%. Sorry, I hope I'm not blocking anybody. 55% are using computer. Though the statistics is from the US that we're using, because I don't even know how genuine the ones we have here are. But that can give you the mind of what is happening here. Majority, I think in Nigeria, the mobile users should be more than 62%. So in other words, when you are writing and you are doing your editing and you are posting online, they should do it in such a way that both with phone, with tab, with computer, and with smart TV, people can access your content. It's very, very easy like that. So on tablets, you have 36. On TV, traditional TV, 26%. Judging by my own this thing, maybe it should be like 10%, because for me, I told you since I came, I've not turned on the TV in my room. But then I've been consuming content using my mobile phone, not even my laptop. I only work on my laptop. The TV. Then connected box, of course, like all this cable TV, 21%. Video game, 13. Nigeria, I'm sure it's 0. Younger people, they call, okay, that's true. Now we are going into the crux of the matter. I will rush all this through because of our time. Google Analytics, that's your friend as a producer or any other data analysis stuff. You say it provides access to massive amounts of data related to how users find and interact with your site. It provides what? It provides access to a massive amount of data. How users find and interact with it. So from the analytics, it will tell you those who are watching you. Let me move to the next slide. It's a Google Analytics. You can see how many people visited your page, how long they remain there, where your users lives. Also, you will get to know how certain keywords perform and so forth. The beautiful thing about this digital media, I can expose an advert, let's say on Facebook, I'm doing something on that single mothers, and I'll say, okay, since they have a lot of them in Kenya, Facebook, I want single mothers in Nairobi. I tell you, those are the people that advert. You can do target marketing or target advertising. That's one of the advantage of analytics, data analytics like Google and so many others. It's just one of the advantages. And this man, like some of you are asking, how can Google Analytics help my SEO? Do you know what SEO is? Huh? God bless you. Search engine optimization. You know, when you are looking for any information, you go on Google and you put it. You see different things from, of course, the first few lines will be the ones they advertise. Thereafter, you see the other ones. What helps those things to come up? Because there are millions. Some will be buried down, some will come up. Everything has to do with SEO, search engine optimization. There's a technique that the professionals use so that when they are looking for that documentary, maybe on Civil War, for instance, yours will pop up. Even if you have thousands there, yours will be in the first page. Because most time, people, they go to other pages when you can't find the full this thing that you want. Otherwise, they just do the first page. Okay. Larger screen. This one also gives some details on some of this, how we talk about smartphones, we talk about how the of content. You know, I was telling you, the way you consume content on TV, on the traditional TV medium, is not the same way you want to consume content using your mobile phone. Recently, I was discussing with someone, I think my wife, and she was telling me about, we read something about a particular channel on DSTV run by a private concern, that the lady has moved her channel out. She wants to do all this thing. I told her that thing has failed. She said, how? I said, that thing, because the program, every program has its own strong medium. I don't see myself going to be watching interviews and all those things, holding my phone, one TV channel on my phone. It should just take the data. But if there are short things and other things, I could do that. But she's on cable TV, where she was, and I think she wasn't doing badly. But now, I just read some days ago that she has closed. I said I wasn't surprised, because I said so. The first time I heard it, you don't need to be a prophet to be able to guess where some things are moving to, if you know what you are doing. So this is important for you, especially you content producers, students as well. Your short films, you know how to do. You don't just write because that topic interests you. You have to research it first. And Google Analytics will show you what people want to consume. It tells you what they want. That's the customer of today. They tell you what they want to watch, not you pushing anything down their throat. This man is what he says. What it says to you, we just define it and how it works. It's not our business for now. He said it's never too early to start learning about engaging or involving your audience. All these things we are talking about, you're going to put it into practice. You're going to put it into practice. This man is worried, like some of you are. The tools you need to succeed in breaking into digital and online space by maximizing audience engagement. These are some of the websites. If you are doing business now without a website, it's like somebody selling without a shop. In fact, every production you are doing, ideally, you should create a website for it. Even before you move into location, you should create a website and start sensitizing those same audience that you want to make that film for. You'll be pushing the links so that they see what is happening. They can't wait for that stuff to come out. A lot of people have been saying it. Village headmaster, they want to see it. Someone said to that, oh, I can't wait. When I say, where's the wife? I say, okay, she's directing village headmaster for Wale Adenuga. Anyway, that's Biola Wale Adenuga's daughter. So they say, oh, village headmaster. Some of them were most of us were very young when it was. Uncle just told me that in 1968, he was part of village headmaster. So a lot of people are, maybe out of nostalgia, they want to see it. So get a website. You must have a working knowledge of some of these digital marketing terms, SEO, Google Analytics, or other data analytics stuff. You must have an idea. How does it work? How can I benefit from it? Let's read. Don't just use your phone to chat your girlfriend or to send this message to your boyfriend. Use it to learn. That's the only way you can succeed. If you don't have knowledge, you are going to fail. And may you not fail in Jesus' name. So, you get that, the working, how it works. I was looking for a picture to use. I didn't get, so I know nobody will sue me when I use my wife and I'm a person. The next one is, because yes, I was looking for location, and she has one on my phone. I say, okay, I will use that. To maximize audience engagement, or audience what? Let me see if we have been following. Either engagement or what? Or involvement. To maximize it, like we said, the service you require the services of at least these two people. A digital marketing strategist. A strategist, digital marketing strategist, and a data analyst. They will help you. You may, so when you want to do your budget, please factor these things in and you see the difference. That is the core of what we are here to discuss. We kept these people out. Meanwhile, the environment has changed. The markets changed. That's the problem we have in Nollywood. Though. The market changed. The marketing did not change. And you know, I prove it to you with that slide. You see the digital cycle that was broken from pre-production to production, post-production. The moment it got to marketing and distribution, it went back to Pans Road, Aba, went back to Dumota, Alaba, Kano. They start going analog. So that digital chain was broken. So we need these people to tell us, I want to write social thing. Where are the people? What do they want to hear? Now, what kind of film do they want to see? If I'm going to Silverbird, if I'm going to any other film one, if I'm going to the other places, I want to make a movie. Please, maybe on social and social thing. Tell me those who are interested. Tell me where they are, and let's start doing the publicity, even from here. So it is important. Include them in your budget the next time. I'm not just talking. As a company, I run a firm that we call Uduma Creative Works. We do production and we consult. We are coming up with something. When you shoot your movie, when you have your series, all we need from you is just a link to your premiere. We are going to upload it on this one we call Nollywood Catalog. It's an online stuff that we are building already. So we will the links of this thing. I've been to Cannes, I've been to some film festivals. I have the contacts. Through that links, we will send the links of this. So if somebody is looking for Nollywood movie on a particular topic, they come here, they'll be able to see, they get the links, they get your links. If they're interested, we don't want to be involved. They go directly to you, you discuss with them, and we are done with that. You might be wondering, aren't you going to make something out of it? No, we are just good citizens. But if that generates traffic for us, it's also better. And with that, we'll be able to advertise. And before I leave, I want to particularly thank the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation also, because they are supporting us in this. And I hope that Nigerian Film Corporation will also take advantage of it. Thank you, and God bless.
I think we can do better. Another round of applause. That was brilliant. That was excellent. What he took us through is like a whole course in university, and that's the truth. It's very thorough. Bonjour à tous. Je suis Abiola Diola, lectrice à Pepti Film Institute. Et vous, monsieur? Et vous? Comment t'appelles-tu? Okay. An exercise. I'm going to follow up on what we've learned from him today, and I hope we took notes. I hope if the notes are made available that we download, because that was what I just did was I spoke in a language, I greeted you, I introduced myself. How my intentions were. It doesn't matter how good my intentions are. It doesn't matter how interesting my conversation is if you do not understand me. Do we agree? Because the minute I go into a language you don't understand, there's a disconnect. Your mind begins to wander. And that is what happens sometimes in the entertainment space. Today we've learned market segmenting. We've seen how we can separate our target market. But at the end of the day, communication needs to happen. We need to speak the language of our target market. Today we are discussing breaking into the digital and online space by maximizing audience engagement and participation, as expanded by the brilliant Chief Osezwa. Now, building on what he has said today, will say, when you find your target, what happens? How can you connect with them? And that was what that exercise was about. Do you speak the language of your target market? It's all well and good to say you want to connect with young females, young maybe youths, young ladies within the ages of 13 and say 37. But are you speaking their language? And what is their language? I'm going to use that as an example. What is the language of young females between the age of 13 and 37? What are they interested in? 13. Babe, you harsho. But a part of them are very interested in marriage, yes? What again? Fashion. So, if you know that your film is to connect with and involve that age group of females, your character has to bring it. They have to kill it in the fashion department. Do we agree? Young boys, young men within that age group, 13 and 37, what are they interested in? Money, technology, and technology in the area of cars, power bikes, games. What again? iPhones, Girls. Why is nobody saying girls? Yes? PS5. So if you've identified your target market as young men within the ages of 13 and 37, you want their engagement, and then you get there, and the babes that are there are tying wrapper from here to down, wearing hairnet, because they'll just spend, and like he said, attention span is greatly reduced. And let's face it, data is expensive. So somebody is going to download your something the first 2 minutes. All the answers are, no, it's not, can't work. He has to use his data. God bless you. We move. So when you identify who you're speaking to, speak their language. And in order to do that, we must respect our target audience well enough to understand them. Learn their language. We cannot force our products or our thinking down their throats. So we must identify, who are we speaking to? What are their interests? What do they want to see? So say you want to do a film for people among the ages of 13 to 37, male and female. At least one guy in that series must have a mad ride or power bike. It's not compromisable. Hello. At least one babe in that particular cast must kill it. You identify those things, and then like he said, let them identify with members of your cast. You see, there are different types of marketing. He's covered so many. He talked about influencer marketing, where you identify people that have power of influence, like the example he used, Davido, and you use them. There's relationship marketing, and then there's viral marketing, in which case you have the audience do the marketing for you. That, honestly, is one of the best forms of marketing. But you will only get that when you involve them in your production. And how do you do that? Right from script stage. Right from character analysis. Right from picking your locations. Right from picking your sets, your props. You must involve them from that stage. Let your audience have a voice. Listen to them. When you pick out your cast, when you pick out all the elements of your production, carry them along. He spoke about digital marketing. It starts before you even go on location. Are there topics they're interested in? Like he said. You know, earlier today, we learned about the business of making film. And we talked about the lifespan of a film. You go to the cinema, you do video on demand, you do DVDs, like we have been taught this morning. The DVD culture has not died. So when you're going into all these stages of the lifespan of a film, you must understand who are the people you are going to meet along the way. And they must be carried along from the beginning of your film. It's an honor to be here before you. I'm a fellow learner, and we're looking forward to a very robust discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening once again. If you ask me, I will tell you that, and I'm not saying to patronize Mr. Osezwa. This is the first lecture we've had, which we have a hard copy. And for me as an academic, it's very important. Because when you talk, and I don't have evidence, something I can refer back to, somehow it's like, well, yeah, we're just discussing and it just goes away. But you know, I know that after now, I'm going to give Mr. Osezwa my email so that he sends this lecture to me. I am sure that is what you want to do too. Because, you know, he was quite modest when he started. His work is not academic, but I tell you, this is an extremely academic work. If you allow me, I'll ask you to clap for him. Yeah. Highly academic with empirical data and, deep-sighted analysis of the issue that he has been given. Just like my sister has spoken, we can only run around on what he has said, but the substance of the topic has been well taken care of by him. So what do I need to say on this? He has already told us what you as a producer, and he's speaking as a film producer, what you need to do. The cyberspace now, as it is, we have sort of become imprisoned to it. Somebody got an embarrassment of his life. Do you know what happened? On his page, they sent pictures, some compromising pictures. And he was quarreling. Why should they do something like this to me? Somebody said, hey, you went somewhere. You went somewhere. That is what Mr. Cesar told us earlier. This issue of Google Analytics. Everything we do online, they see it. They keep records. All right? And so if you go and touch something somewhere, immediately what AI does, artificial intelligence does, it is what? It records it, and it becomes part of what they'll what? So be pushing all those things to what? To you. So the paper is saying that if I have been able to factor in all these issues that he raised in terms of character, characterization, how my target audience behave, invariably, once this information is there, it will find its way to them because it's their preferences. It will have been recorded in their what? In their preferences. So the little I want to add here, especially for us who come from high institutions, when I was doing a little research on this, what I discovered is, and he also spoke on it, that marketing. So having all said and done, after I have finished, how do I market this? I think one way we can also, or one thing we can also add is trailers. Trailers online. And if you look at the way a movie trailer, especially a well-packaged trailer, is such that it what? Appeals to you because the action scenes are captured. The suspense is also brought in so that you would what? You want to watch it. You want to watch it. And these trailers, if thrown to the right media, can actually impact. Hello? You just ask the question. Thank you. She just asked the question about the preferences of a particular age range. And of course, certainly, as a filmmaker, just as in other areas, once we're able to take note of that, you discover that somehow it will get to the target audience. So the social media, helps a lot, in engaging the audience. Look at the, figures that Mr. Sezua gave us. That is just on YouTube. He didn't talk about Facebook. He didn't talk about Instagram. He didn't talk about Twitter. And for some of us, we are always relating almost at the same time on all these platforms, moving from Facebook to Instagram, from Instagram to. Now, so you can imagine throwing in your your trailer on this, your content on any of these platforms. All right? Invariably, it has a way of getting around to the audience that you meant it to. Now, digital media training. We are actually at the process of reviewing our curriculum in the National Film Institute. And about 2 weeks ago, we had a meeting with some of our alumni, and they were suggesting some key areas in the film production value chain. And I think what I've discovered today is one of the areas that the Film Institute can also factor in. Because this media training for better marketing, it's actually a profession. It is a profession. Because you need to be trained on this. And so, for me, what I can add more from this exhaustive discussion from Mr. Osezwas is that in as much as we can have good content out there, you also need some people that can, strategies. Thank you, that's the word. Strategies that can actually what? Sell it out. It's like politics. You have what you call political what? Strategies. People who will sit and they call themselves stakeholders. I think you've heard that. Politicians have appropriated this word for themselves. When you hear them talk about what? Stakeholders. So even in the film production value chain, I see these people as strategic in pushing forward, or rather in marketing movies that are produced. They are a very important part of this value chain. Beyond that, what can we say about OTT? What is OTT? Over the platform. All right? I mean, over the top, sorry. Over the top. Some of these cyberspaces where movies are streamed. I don't know how much will that help us in Nigeria. I am aware that once movie getting to any of this actually brings in some tidy sum. But I'm also cognizant of the criticism that you gave against this, especially YouTube. But what about platforms like Netflix? All right? Like Amazon, like HBO. All right? All right, you can also create your own what? Platform. I think we need those platforms a lot in Nigeria. Because this, if you care to find out how much money Netflix made during this lockdown, man, it was their profits went above the ceiling. Because that is where people go to these days, this OTT, over the top platforms. So we need these kind of platforms around, where people, can go to, like she talked about how expensive data is. But at the same time, you see, you cannot take away the love of the cyberspace for not just young people, every one of us. All right? You have beautifully analyzed us. Some of us are old, but we're still young. Our preferences. That's right. Okay, I love cartoons. Yeah. And when I tell people that, Cartoons? He said, yeah, I love cartoons. I love Tom and Jerry. You are laughing at me? All right? It's quite engaging. You see, for me, I just love the creativity in animation. All right? Okay, so getting to, if you know me, if you really want to get to me, these are some of the issues that really appeals to me. And that's what his paper has broken down. It's not just the age, but also, I don't want to talk about whether it's maturity. I don't think because I love cartoons, I'm not mature. I think it's just my what? My preference, isn't it? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, for me, I think what I can take away from this lecture is the eye-opener to the fact that even as a teacher, we can strategize by floating a course on media strategy, digital media strategy, the graduates of which are extremely important to the film production value chain. Thank you very much.
Yes, I was saying most of the successful Hollywood movies, they did their research. They use some of this in analytics and all those things to know what to do. People don't just go on the first 2 nights, they make so and so millions of dollars. No, they've done their research as part of their pre-production. They are not just shooting movie because they like the theme. They make film for people, so they get to know those people. So the research is very important. So like I said, once you identify the audience, you can do a questionnaire, send it to the various groups. Tell them, what would you like to see? How would you want to watch it? Where would you want to watch it? At what time? They will tell you. And based on that fact, when you collate the result of the data, yeah, you use it, you call for your script conference. This is what they want, this is what they want. You analyze that, and that's it. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for them. If you did not leave your hands in your hotel, please let me hear this clap. Okay, we've come to the end of talking sessions for today. And I want to quickly remind you for the programs for tomorrow. We shall resume tomorrow, which is Thursday, right? Emerging Talent will start by 8 o'clock. We have 2 sessions, 8 to 9, before we move to 9 to 11 a.m. So if you have the program, the Emerging Talent does not start 9, it starts 8 in the morning. After that, we'll have the annual film lecture. The program, you see the people that will be here tomorrow. So we expect you will participate fully. And thereafter, we have 2 to 4 workshop on digital content. And then 4 to 6, we have another emerging talent workshop by Ray Dandara, a sound specialist. And then we now go to the cinema again tomorrow. So for today, we've come to the end of proceedings here. Now what we are going to do, the buses are going to move you to Silverbird Cinema. And the cinema opens for us by 6 p.m. to 8. We have screening, free screening. If you have friends in Abuja, you can tell them they should come to Silverbird Cinema.